Before we get into President Trump's speech today, I want to start out with something a little different. The aforementioned MSNBC pundit, or a guy who often appears on pundit, is named Eli Mistal. He used to work on Wall Street with one of the big law firms there, went to Harvard. And here's what he said about America before 1965, number 26.
One of the laws you write about is playing out right now, the Immigration and Nationality Act. Now, this administration is using this statute to justify the detentions and possible deportations, actually, of visa and green card holders who they seem to deem a threat to U.S. foreign policy. What do you make of the administration's use of the act? And more broadly, is Trump really setting up a First Amendment showdown, which is what Whoopi's been talking about?
Yes, absolutely. One of my premises for the book is that every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional, right? But because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. So why should I give about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s?
Okay. I'm not sure who's higher on the anger scale, this gentleman or Jasmine Crockett. Here's what she said about Trump not abiding by laws she disagreed with, only to be reminded of her hypocrisy by Congressman Darrell Issa, number 22.
The problem that we have right now is that if we continue down this road, then we will not have a rule of law, because we have people that are currently serving and they're saying things like, ignore the judge's order. What it means to have law and order in this country is that you follow the order and you go through the appeals process, even if you dislike what the judge did. Thank you, and I yield.
And I'll yield back to Mr. Issa. Mr. Issa, you had a question for me, which I'll yield to you now if you want to.
Now that there's no time left. Thanks, Eric.
I'm entertain it.
You're good. You're good at that, but I'll take my own time. I'll recognize myself. And I'm going to note that when Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC as we know her, filed articles of impeachment on Justice Thomas and Alito, Ms. Crockett was one of the co-sponsors along with Mr. Cohen, both members of this committee. It does seem interesting that when the shoe is on the other foot, everyone is self-righteous. And I think this is a good example. For the last 3 hours, I have had to listen to one side talking about impeachment as though it was the nature of this hearing. It is not.
And the point is that Jasmine Crockett had no problem demanding that Clarence Thomas and Justice Alito be impeached because she didn't like their decisions. Now we're criticizing Donald Trump for not liking judicial decisions. Now, the reason I started the show off with Jasmine Crockett and Eli Mistal is that I'm sure if you spoke to them privately, they would say that they are champions of black people. Jasmine Crockett has begun to speak in sort of a Ebonics, slang, ghetto type of style when she didn't speak that way before, went to Catholic schools. When her predecessor anointed her as her successor, she's on YouTube, spoke standard English, didn't say y'all and ain't and all and that kind of stuff. And Eli Mistal, as I mentioned, was once a prominent lawyer on Wall Street, went to Harvard, and is probably one of the angriest people I've ever seen on television. Both are black and purport to be concerned about the plight of black people in America. Now, I mention that because somebody that a lot of people probably don't know just died. His name is Junior Bridgeman. He is a former basketball player with the NBA, played around 12 years, wasn't a superstar, had a solid career primarily as a sixth man for the Milwaukee Bucks. The Lakers drafted him, but promptly traded him for their big trade to get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I mention him because he died a billionaire, B as in boy, not from earnings as a basketball player. In those days, the players weren't making very much money, certainly compared to today. He played, as I mentioned, around 12 years, mostly as a sixth man. and he scored over 9,000 points, ranking him third in terms of games played and ninth in terms of points scored in franchise history of Milwaukee Bucks. From 1985 to 1988, according to the Wall Street Journal, he was president of the NBA's Players Association, helping to negotiate with teams. He noticed, however, that whenever the two parties retreated to separate quarters for a break, the players would talk about basketball and the owners would talk about business. And he said, it dawned on me that maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe the business world is more interesting. Ultimately, he became an NBA part owner himself, purchasing 10% in his old team in Milwaukee. That move was probably the pinnacle of an astounding career in business, which began after he left the NBA. He amassed fast food franchises, Coca-Cola bottling operations, and other ventures. Earlier this year, Forbes estimated his net worth as $1.4 billion, noting that he is in the rarefied air of black sports billionaires like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and LeBron James. However, he's the only one who built that wealth in retirement without having earned very much in earnings or endorsement deals when he was in the NBA. He was born in Chicago, East Chicago, Indiana, rather, one of four. Father was a steel worker, took gigs cleaning local bars, washing windows to make ends meet. He entered the University of Louisville on a basketball scholarship, played in the Final Four. When he came into the NBA, the total salary for the Milwaukee Bucks the year he was there, which included all 12 players and the coaches, was $1.8 million. He had just married his college girlfriend, to whom he remained married. But he put pressure on himself to become business savvy, to learn the business game, and to forge a future for himself beyond the game of basketball. When we come back, I'll tell you what he did to amass a fortune of $1.4 billion. And I mention this because if some of these people, these angry pundits, whether they're on television or politicians, would just focus one tiny fraction of their anger on what it really takes to become successful in this country, which is hard work, sacrifice, putting in the effort, staying focused, maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't be so counterproductive, because anger doesn't get you anywhere. And that's all they're peddling. It's counterproductive anger. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.